Hey, what's up? It's your boy BobbySapphire. I'm here with my boy Steviegets.
What up? What up?
We're gonna go over my showcase draft from this week. I drafted on Tuesday at my local game store. Great Stories in Whitensville, Mass. What a shop! And I recorded all my picks. I didn't record the pack crack of the showcase, but we have it just after I hit the play. So I'm doing this with Steve because Steve's been doing a lot of Patreon exclusive draft content. You've 3-0'd all your drafts. Is that true?
Correct.
3-0'd all your
The only
drafts.
draft I've lost in this game is the heads up one, Winston with you, the second one, when we played for a round of drinks.
Let's go. So I
Yes.
beat the draft master once. Steve did defeat me in one of his conquests, his draft conquests. So anyway, I figure like we want more draft content. We get comments that people want draft content. So we're gonna go over my picks, and it should
Gotta find
be.
some packs.
What's up?
Need to find some packs.
We
I'd
do
be
need.
drafting every weekend.
I failed to win a box last weekend. I came in second. It's so brutal.
I'm
I could
so
have had a whole box, dude. I drove an
I
hour
know.
and a half to do that, and I freaking failed. So it is what it is. All right, so we're gonna go through the picks first. We're gonna start off with the showcase, and we're just gonna talk about it. So one of the things that Steve's built, there she is, beautiful Leia. If I could have picked any showcase to open, it would have been that one. If you see, I hadn't even opened the third pack yet. So there it is. There's the 3 leaders I get. Um, so one of the things that you've drafted and talked about in your drafting videos is drafting control, which is like what I want to do as well.
100%.
Obviously, if there was no showcase here, I'm just taking that Boba Fett, right? Like,
Yeah,
there's no
for
question
sure.
about
The
it.
only thing I would consider taking over the showcase is probably Chewy, just because I think Chewy's the best.
I'm not. I
But
don't care about winning three
hey, if
pack.
you want a
Like,
rare draft, you can rare draft, but that's the difference between winners and losers.
if it were Worlds, I would take the Chewy. If it were a Pro Tour, I'd take the Chewy. Um,
Yeah.
but if but I would also look to my left and see if I was getting a Chewy first. In this case, it didn't matter because I was taking the showcase, but I would have liked that Boba Fett a lot. Um, and so I take the Leia. Yeah. So why do you like Chewie the most?
I think he's I think the format is slow enough that he can be more impactful than he is in constructed. And given the lack of actual removal for leaders in draft, I feel like once you get to 7 and he comes down, you pretty much just win the game.
Yep.
I mean, it doesn't happen all the time, but in all of the games that I played, except for like one, once I played Chewy, it's just been pretty much GG's. And especially within blue and white, there's enough like mediocre restore or sentinel cards that you can draft where you're almost always guaranteed to get to 7.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll come up that like those kinds of things will come up as I'm picking. So I already have access to Leia, and the guy to my left already has one Sabine because the guy to my left opened a Sabine showcase, which I guess I should have shown. I meant to show. There's the guy. We sat right next to each other and opened showcases together, which is insane. So I was pretty sure he was going to be Sabine, but I also wanted access to a blue control leader, so I took Iden here.
This was the pack with the showcase in it.
Yeah,
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I think Aiden's great. She's basically the equivalent. You can play control deck with her, similar way you can do with Chewy.
yeah. And then I knew that I looked to my left and saw that I was probably getting an IG-88, so that's what we ended up with. So those are my leaders, and already thinking that like I'm probably going to just be control, depending on what I open here. So yeah, so we're getting for pack one, pick one. Let me know if anything jumps out to you as like being an auto pick. I guess I'm looking at the Echo Base Defender first because I might want a Leia. Got a Ruthless Raider, a
Yeah, I
Super Laser
mean,
Blast, and I had no choice.
considering your rare drafting, you might as well take the Super Laser Blast.
Well, not only am I rare drafting, but I have Iden, so like it's not
Yeah.
a
Oh,
terrible
yeah.
pick.
I was kind of being a smartass.
Yeah,
Like it seems like a no-brainer.
yeah, it's a $30 card or whatever, and it feeds really well into control. And
One thing I'm curious about is when there does become like organized play for draft, how they'll do the leader draft. Like remember when versus when we had shields for deck building? because there's so much information currently to be had just by like everyone opening their packs.
Right.
Because like you said earlier, you looked to your left, you saw you were probably getting a he was probably getting a Sabine. Like there's so much information available with the current format when you just open it up. Like it really benefits you to just be paying attention to what people are doing around you.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I think that in like a pro tour setting, they would tell you to pick all at the same time, sort of like they did for the versus pro
Yeah.
tours, where you had to make your pick at that moment, and that would make it easier. So I think I'm not sure if I definitely want to be control, and I'm looking at Death Trooper and the Gorilla Pod. And it looks like I took the Death Trooper there. I know I like pulled it from the
Yeah.
middle, but I
I
took the
think
Death
I'd
Trooper.
I'd stick with that. The other thing too I like about that is this is you're just getting gas at this point. It's nice that you've had three. Why I would take the Death Trooper over something else there is you're giving the signal that you're going blue. So, and again, like you're just getting fed blue cards as well. It's interesting that the Callus lasted that long.
I agree, especially since the guy who just passed it to me is playing yellow. He ends up on yellow green boba, and I looked at. So this is one of the things that I wanted to pause and talk about before we go super fast through the later picks. But like I saw a Ruthless Raider early, and I haven't seen any good like non-blue villain stuff until this pack, where I get the Gladiator Star Destroyer, which I think is like pretty good generally in draft, and the Callus, which is obviously like a rare with a lot of upside, draws a card, it trades down um, easily and draws you a card often. So, like, I'm taking this as I should go green, right?
I would probably take it. I wouldn't like say I'm forced into green at this point,
For sure.
but I think taking that over what was there was was it a Vanquish or take what was the other blue card in this pack?
Um, I I think that's a Vanquish, but there I've already also seen two other Vanquishes. I actually
Yeah,
think I go with the Star Destroyer here. I don't remember taking Callus, so I don't end up
interesting.
green, but I took the Star Destroyer. I guess maybe I wasn't too impressed by the 4/4.
I'd probably take the Callus just to have that option because if you do go green, I think that's probably better than the Star Destroyer.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and I end up with a lot of six drops, so I definitely would have wished that if I'd gone green that I took the Callus.
the other thing too, why I would take the Callus over the Star Destroyer is, let's say you do want to go, you do end up green. If you by taking this Callus over the Star Destroyer, you're not signaling that green is open. By taking like the same thought we just had, like, oh, you
Right.
got past the green must be open. Now, if you're passing that Callus, the next player is going to think, oh, green must be open. Let me move into that. So you're essentially going to cut yourself off pack two of green cards.
Yeah, and I wasn't sure what color I wanted to be, and like I just took a Bosk. The pack didn't have much blue, but I noticed that there was an entrenched in there, and I wish I took the entrenched because I would have loved in a couple of my games to have it entrenched on my own unit to sort of like clear that side of the board. I ended up losing to a Chewbacca who just it was best of one, which was really unfortunate. But I ended up losing to a Chewbacca who just wing leadered an arc and like I couldn't kill it. But if I had like a tool to entrench, I could have played that line. I took the Bosk because a Boba just passed it to me, and I was like, oh well, maybe this guy isn't gonna play Boba now if he's passing me Bosk. Like I can't imagine what like if you're playing Boba Fett in draft, what card like fifth pick you'd take or fourth pick you'd take over Bosk. So I
No
ended up
clue.
taking the Bosk there. But I kind of wish that I didn't. And then I got the Vanquish back and the Ruthless Raider and I take the Ruthless Raider. So now I've got like one of every color to sort of like a card in any color to push me. Um, and I guess yeah, I can slow it down a little bit more if we want to talk through some of these. But I think I just took the Wampa. But again, like a Gamo guards coming from Boba Fett, I'm really surprised to see that. Um,
Does the guy end up going Boba Fett?
yeah,
Did he go? He did.
and
Interesting.
he went 3-0. There were two 3-0s because we combined
There's
the
two Koreas.
pools. Yeah, we had 11, so we did two small pods, but then all played against each other. So now I'm just like feeling red, like with the Ruthless Raider, which I guess I just like a lot more than the Sentinel ship.
I may have taken the maximum firepower there. especially if you're going Iden.
Yeah,
Um,
I hate taking the Imperial stuff when I don't know how many Imperials I'm gonna get.
for
And I
sure.
and I
But
like
I
the
think
Stormtrooper.
that's fair. I
No, but
think with your deck though, because you're probably going control if you're going villain, the Stormtrooper is gonna end up kind of being mopey.
yeah, my thinking is just he'll kill stuff like 3 attack early game, but I definitely yeah, I mean I definitely see your point and easier to like I looking back I wish I took the maximum firepower.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it's easy to Monday morning quarterback right now and like
Yeah.
rip apart your picks or go over things.
So
Um,
this Vanquish and this the other Star Destroyer still floating around. Um the Vanquish, this is when I realized like I think I'm the blue player.
yeah, I think that's a great signal. It's a great card to have the Vanquish. I don't think you need two Star Destroyers. It's interesting because if you had taken the Callus earlier, I may have taken the Star Destroyer in this pack.
Yeah, and gone green. I
But
guess I was looking at the
like
occupier tank there too.
I also like not taking the Vanquish just to like solidify that like blue isn't open, and if it is open, you're taking it.
Yeah.
It's you, you know.
Yep, and there's the entrenched taunting me again. I'm gonna take the shieldy boy.
Yeah.
I think that entrenched does something at uncommon that not a lot of cards do, and then there's so many random 3 drops that I can play. It looks
Take the
like I
blue.
take Guardian just in case for the
Yeah.
blue, and then um, we're at the end. So let's see if I fan my picks here.
I love that card. Look at that. Last pick Star Destroyer.
Yeah.
Was it an 8-man pod?
No, it was 2 6-man pods,
Okay.
or like
Okay.
one was 6, one was 5. I can't remember which one I was in. So I think I counted about 9 playables from that pack. And let's see what we open in pack 2. A lot of my arm in this shot. All right, so we got Make an Opening, First Legion Stormtrooper, another Death Trooper, Cell Block Guard, a lot of stuff for our deck, another Bosk, Sneak Attack Rare, and then a Foil Interceptor. You like any of these more than the others?
I'd probably take the Death Trooper. Just stick with the theme. Um,
Yeah, I go with the
that's
Interceptor because it's like a more clear 2-for-1. I also when I realized that I was probably the only blue player, I started taking the better red cards over blue, and then just wheeling all the blue cards.
wheeling. Yeah. Does the
Um,
make an opening end up wheeling?
I do end up with a make an opening, but I don't know if it's that make an opening. So not a lot here. I think it's like a pretty easy snap.
Yeah.
Academy Walker, like everything. There's one pack that I get that like literally has no blue or red cards coming up. I think in this pack. Yeah, and I like Academy Defense Walker, but one thing that I do find or did find in this draft is I'm getting overloaded with 6s.
Yeah. I can see that. So at this point in the draft, are you solidified as blue red in
Yeah,
your
I'm thinking blue red. Yeah, because I got the Interceptor, because I have the Ruthless Raider,
yeah.
and I have like the Wampa, which I actually like fine in draft. But this is the pack that had like nothing. I think I even just take the mission briefing here. I'm thinking of maybe counter picking or something.
Yeah.
But I take the mission briefing and I end up running it. And I end up playing it in round 1 when my opponent like missed a drop. So when he missed a drop, I decided to mission briefing instead of playing like an underpowered.
Juggernaut, baby.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite blue cards in
What is?
draft. Juggernaut.
Oh yeah. So I knew I was gonna end up with a Juggernaut, so I figured that would be a good time to work back on the Chewy thing. Just like, I have a blue leader. I'm playing blue red. It seems like just a bonkers card. Shields are so hard to deal with. Like life gain is insane.
Life game. Yeah. Ooh, that's interesting.
What's that?
Well, I was just thinking to myself, I'm curious. I haven't seen many ATSTs or any of the like the 2/2 attack in, whatever the fleet lieutenant is for Darkseid.
Oh, Snowtrooper Lieutenant. Yeah,
Yeah. So I was curious to see if somebody else was on
like villain stuff.
Imperials, but you table that's yeah. See, it's tough because I think given what I've seen so far, I think I would have ended up blue green. Um, and I think most of that comes back to that callous pick.
Hmm.
Uh,
We
like
haven't
you
seen
think about
anything like too insane in green though.
no, but like those the seasoned shore troopers, I really like,
Yeah, short troopers are great. I
especially
take
when you're
precision
in
fire there.
control. I'm not a huge fan of resupply, but good call on wheeling that. Like that super laser tech you had. Um,
Yeah, they all wheeled, and so like I'm thinking I'll probably even get another one. Yeah, anytime the ramp shows up late, like I think there's like a last pick super laser tech or something later, and I'm just like don't understand what's happening.
take the Death Trooper.
Yeah, I took the
Thank you.
Death Trooper there, although I was like definitely had my eye on on both the CBG and the First Order, the First Legion Snowtrooper. God, my cat. This is that pack that just doesn't have anything.
Yeah.
Gorilla Pod for 8. It's happening. I wonder if I take this keep fighting here.
I'd probably take the Arc to hate on it, but that's
Yeah, I
just me.
definitely wish knowing what I lost to. Actually, no, I think the guy I lost to was in the other draft, but I take the red card. Yep, just take the
Yeah.
Sentinel. That's
Like you
that
could have
super.
went Steadfast Battalion that last pack too if you had
And I
been
would have
green.
had resupply and super laser tech like back to back. I probably should have hate drafted one of those two cards. They're way better than the droid.
Yeah, for sure.
So I
Could have
get
had a Star Viper too. Although
yeah.
I don't hate that. Just this
It's just
Snow
like how are
Trooper.
those green cards going around? Like I don't know what people were taking.
I don't
Um,
think anyone was really in green.
yeah, I guess not.
When it was all said and done, did anyone go green? The
Yeah,
guy to your right,
the
green
guy to my
Boba?
right who's Boba Green. Yeah.
You had to have been in the five pack,
Yeah, I must have been.
5 person pod. I'm sorry. If I was actually smart enough, I'd be counting right now, but I'm not.
Yeah, well, we're chatting.
Oh
So
yeah.
I think again I had like 21 playables here, and I was looking for 9 out of this next pack. But that pack was good for me. And let's see what I open in pack 3. I think it's an open fire. Is it another Callus? Yep, another
Yeah.
Callus. Tie Advance. Oh, Hyper Spark, Hyper Foil Metal Armor. That's a good pack.
Mm. Gas.
What are you taking here? Are you taking the open fire?
Yeah. Given that you're pretty much solidified in red at this point, I think you have to.
Yeah.
Again, like seeing this pack now, really wish we had been in green. Um, but the open fire is fine.
Yeah, open fire is great. I mean, it's a premium card at common. I just yeah, I would have liked to run this back and see what the green deck would have looked like. All right, so we didn't end up with that make an opening in pack 2, but there's another one. There's another Snow Trooper. There's another Death Trooper. TLN. This is a good pack. I'm already thinking. There's another open fire. I'm thinking like all these cards that are gonna wheel and maybe even double wheel because of the small pod.
I might take the Han there.
Really, just because he's so
Yeah,
tough to
just
deal
to
with.
hate. You gotta I mean, you gotta imagine if you're trying to win this thing, you're gonna end up seeing it, and he's such a freaking blowout.
Yeah, it's just 7 is late. I know like you're like angling to get to the late game, but I find 7 to be so late in draft.
The other thing too is like going with what you were saying, like most of those like other cards probably would have wheeled if you had hated that. You may not have gone the open fire, but you would have gone at least one solid playable to
Right.
wheel out of that.
Yeah, you're right. Looks like there's a Snow Trooper Lieutenant. Oh yeah,
Ooh. Oh,
that's
jeez.
I
All
get
right.
like a 4th pick
Now maybe
Palpatine.
I'm not that mad you're red.
Yeah, the 4th pick Palpatine or whatever.
I changed my mind. Good
Seems pretty
job with this
good.
passing on the Gallon.
It all worked out. And there's just like, and this pack is insane for me. Like pack 2, I got a ton of playables, and they were all bad, but this pack, like everything is good. I
Oh,
Another
yeah.
Ruthless Raider plus the Security Patrol Craft. I take the
I see what you're
Raider.
saying now in terms of being high on 6 drops.
Yeah, they just, and like maybe I should have taken
That was deals.
the Ruthless Raider. The Sentinel ship, but like Ruthless Raider's so insane.
No, that's fine. I'd take the Ruthless Rider.
I just have a lot of sixes. Pretty happy. So I took the tie advance there. Pretty happy to take a 4 drop because I had like almost none. Another great pack with this thing's still like feeding. I've already got 2 Death Troopers. So I'm thinking make an opening here.
Yeah,
But
I'd be
definitely a
curious
tough
to see
call.
how many 2 and 3 drops you end up with because it seems you may be a little light on the earlier plays.
That
But so here's a perfect example of like a card that's kind of mopey regional sympathizer that I love in Chewy. Is it maybe it's not regional, whatever the white one is that's like
Yeah, it's
just a generic
regional. Yeah,
yeah.
the three
Restore
four.
2.
Yeah, I like that
Yeah.
guy. Yeah, I also like the guy that I took, the Ardent Sympathizer Life.
Oh yeah.
That guy,
For your for what you're doing, he's fine. He's
yeah,
great. I was thinking more in
drop
terms
him,
of
take initiative.
trying to draft like a Chewy control deck type thing.
Yeah, for sure.
All those cards that are mediocre and don't see any standard play. Once you factor in that restore when drafting control and draft, like it goes a lot further.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I'm just getting tons of playables here, and I even end up with like
Yeah,
I can
like,
still take one of these Snow Troopers and another Death Trooper.
that's silly.
I think I take a third Death Trooper here, but I don't. Did I take a Snow Trooper yet? Because I know I had at least one Snow Trooper.
I believe you have a snow trooper
Okay,
already.
then yeah. So I end up with triple Death Trooper. Certainly makes me wish I had Krennic instead.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
Iden's great. He's good, especially considering you got the super laser blast and the um
Palpatine.
yeah Palpatine that like you should be
All right, and I get
good.
last pick Academy Defense Walker, so I have a ton of
Yeah,
sixes.
yeah,
All right, so this is what I end up with. You can see that, right?
I can. Yeah,
Okay. So this is what I end up with, which is honestly too many low drops, too many 2 and 3 drops, and my mid game, especially turn 5, is pretty rough. And when I built, I was like, okay, I'm pretty much looking to go like 3 drop, 2 drop, on 5 ideally. But it's when
yeah.
I'm Iden, I wish I had more 5 drops
The thing is, yeah,
to bridge me to
definitely
Iden better.
agreed. But the thing I like about your like, look at the Death Troopers. They're not more often than not. They're not an actual 3 drop. Like I
Yeah,
feel like
you're
Death
right.
Troopers are more of like a later game 4 or 5. Not in this case because you have so many, but 6. But like dropping them later to kill something in 2 for 1, as opposed to just like running them out there on 3. So
Right, clean something up. Yeah.
I don't hate that.
And what I did was I
Yeah,
just like resourced 6 drops early, like with impunity. Like I just didn't. I was like, okay, it doesn't
yeah,
matter which of these I resource because I have so many good 6 drops to drop that I don't want to clog my hand. I know I'm going to draw more, and just get me to Palpatine Super Laser Blast.
yeah. I mean, this thing looks gas.
Yeah, and
Um,
I only lost to that Chewie deck, who again all he did was wing leader and arc and attack me 5 like however many
yeah,
times, and I couldn't stop it. I couldn't slow it down. I didn't have the Vanquish, and I couldn't live long enough to Super Laser Blast. We played a game 2. It was best of 1, but I was like, can we do one more? I'd just like to see if you're gonna blow me out or if my deck actually has game into this. And I did beat him game 2. So I would have liked to try and see if I could have Super Laser Blasted Chewie off the board game 3. Um, but he
yeah.
had to get going.
Makes you wonder if maybe we should have valued those vanquishes earlier, higher.
I definitely wish. So another thing is though, when we drafted, it was best of 3, and then after the draft and we built, he said, "Oh, we're gonna do only best of 1." So like, I didn't think much of it, but I definitely wish that I had 2 vanquishes for sure. I would have liked to have taken vanquish, over any of those cards in another color. But I guess like part of that is I was trying to stay open to like let the like any good cards I had guide me into what color to take. Um, but I just should have taken the Vanquish and stayed blue when I knew I was blue and not messed around with other
Yeah, I
colors.
think I agree with you there. And the other thing too, I think if you are going along that line of play is if after pack one, the end of pack one comes, you're only blue. I think you're in a good spot
Right, because
because
then I
then you
can
have
just
the
take
option to
whatever.
open. Yeah, I think you probably end up still in red because of the Emperor, regardless of how much I wanted you to take those calluses. But like once you see that Emperor, I think you just move in a red no matter what at that point, given what you have. And along those lines too, your blue's gonna be stronger if you're kind of staying within that mindset in pack one.
Yeah. I do find 8 to be really late in draft, so I was a little hesitant to have like 2 8 drops, but they are such game changing 8 drops that like, and I have Iden who can heal, obviously
Yeah.
like, essentially infinite life. So, um, yeah, all in all, I like it. I thought I had a really good Imperial sub theme. I only have a couple cards that like I'm not super happy to play, like the mission briefing. And like I wish that maybe I had a five, like 1 or 2 5 drops over the 6 drops, but I was pretty happy with it. And I definitely think I
Yeah.
could have went 3-0 if I got to play 2 or 3 versus the Chewie. Not guaranteed or anything, but I liked my chances of at least having some outs to Chewbacca in Power of the Dark Side in Super Laser Blast.
Did you use precision fire at all?
Yeah, I have a lot of troopers. Iden's a trooper, and I had like 3 Death Troopers. The Wing Guard's a trooper. Cell Block Guard's a trooper. Wilderness Fighter's a trooper.
Yeah.
Um, and
I
then all those 2 drops. I just thought that it would be a solid pump if I ever needed to get in there and like get around a shielded guy.
Yeah, I drafted that red green Tarkin. I don't remember where I took it, but I took that card reasonably high. Not like first couple picks, but I saw it and I was like, "Ooh, this is interesting." Like not a last pick type thing, but I never ended up playing it. But it seemed like it was some sneaky value to it.
Yeah, I thought it was good, and I played it a couple times during the event, and like it can close out games. It can kill something that you otherwise can't kill. And I just had a million troopers, so it just seemed like the perfect fit for me.
Or yeah, no, all said and done, that's a pretty solid deck. I
Yeah, I'm
think
pretty
I'd be
happy
happy
with
to
it.
draft that
I'm gonna
any other
try and
week.
now I can finally take this apart, but I got my Super Laser Blast. I'm gonna add these to my trade binder, and yeah, I'm gonna go play a store showdown today. And
Good luck.
I hope he gives away some packs. Oh, because this box, the legendaries were Mace and Aggression, I think, or maybe Vigilance, and Vader is the legendary in the middle of those. So if he gives away
Ooh,
packs today, one of them should have a Vader,
don't crack them, save them. We'll draft.
but it's got a Vader in it.
It doesn't necessarily have a Vader.
I mean,
You could still,
mine will
you
have a
could.
Vader.
True. I stand corrected. I forgot about that.
All right, thanks for doing this with me.
All right, bro. I'll talk to you later.
Later,
Later, guys.
later. GG's.